Hello, welcome back to another episode of I Like Motorbikes. Today, I'm going to be doing a video that I've been wanting to do for a little while, which is, can you make money buying and selling motorbikes? Pretty simple. This is born of, you see these television shows like Wheeler Dealers, for example, with Mike Brewer, and he goes and finds a car, needs some work doing to it, buys it, gets his mechanic to do the work, tries to sell it for a profit. That's the premise. So what's it like if you try and do that with a bike? What I'm going to do is go through buying a bike, what it costs, what are the hidden costs, what are the risks involved, and ultimately trying to make some money out of it. That's the plan. I've done it a few times before, sometimes successfully, sometimes not so, a little bit in the middle. But this time I thought I'd document it, put it out there, so if it's something that you've been thinking about doing, you get a little bit more information and see whether it's really right for you. Let's take a look, see what I bought, I'll wheel it out. Bought this bike yesterday. It came with an alleged electrical issue, so I'm going to check that out. It's got no paperwork other than the registration document that you get in the UK here, known as a V5, and it's quite tatty. It's been a track bike. Just going to have a dig underneath. Need to give it a good clean. Got a few jobs on the list already to look at. Number one of which, to make it easier to push it around, need to pump up the front tyre because it's got no air in it whatsoever. I think the rear is pretty similar. Check the battery, that's the next one on the list, and after that, let's give it a good wash. Let's get it done. 5BY Yamaha R1, produced from 2004 until 2006, was heavily revised from the 5PW model. A new swinging arm and chassis was introduced, underseat exhaust and radial front brake calipers too, but the star of the show was the claimed 1:1 power to weight ratio, 170 kilos and 170 horsepower to match, but of course, that's dry weight. Next job is getting the battery out, having a look at it, because I think it's flat. Got the tools ready. I think it's 2 bolts here, 2 bolts under the tail, and I think that's everything to pull the seat unit off. So I think the battery's under, I don't know, but I presume the battery's under here. Telltale sign of a well looked after bike. Bolts that mismatch, so we've got 2 different ones either side of the seat here. There's the other. And a bolt that's not held in with anything, or not holding anything I should say. So they're completely different, and there's 2 different ones underneath. And nothing quite screams quality like a number plate bracket made out of bits of wire, does it? Hey? Good news is we've got a power commander unit under here, that's cool. It's another win. And the battery, let's test it. So for checking the battery, what I've got here is a little widget called a multimeter. Now this has loads of things on it, many of which I don't know what they do, but it's for checking resistance, continuity, and voltage as well. So I'm going to check the voltage at the battery, both with the battery at rest, so the ignition not on, with the ignition on, and when it's cranking as well. And I'll see if I can do some close-ups so you can see what I'm actually doing and how I'm doing it. But pretty basic bit of equipment. I think you can pick these up for about £15, and it just gives you a real clear indication of the battery health. So yeah, let's have a look. You can see there 11, or maybe you can't, the screen's a bit catching some light, but it's 11.8 volts. Now batteries are 12 volts, so it's anywhere between, because you have 6 cells in a normal battery, 6 cells, and they're anywhere between 2.6 volts and 3.2 volts each. So that should give you a total of 2.2 to 2.6 volts, and each one therefore, with it, or totaling them up, should give you a total of 12.6 to 13.2 volts with a fresh, healthily, freshly charged, healthy battery. So 11.2, it's already on the, a bit of the low side. Turn the ignition on. You can see it's quite rapidly dropping. Oh, it's stabilised now actually with the fuel pump. It's 11.6. Now I'm probably not going to be able to show you the camera when I crank it, or go to crank it, but if you get a voltage drop, oh wow, haven't got any voltage drop, but usually a voltage drop of down to about 10.5 volts is about the minimum you want, but at the moment I'm not getting it, because that might be the starter solenoid that's making that clicking noise. I'm going to see if I can get it to crank like it did earlier. Ah, there we go. It immediately dropped to 6 volts when I did that. It went to 9 and then 6 volts, so I think I've answered my question. Battery needs a charge. Top tip if you don't know, when taking off the battery, negative first. So that way you've now broken the circuit. There's no way that you can fry anything. There goes the nut. And then the positive. And do the reverse when you can put the battery back on. So I'll get this out, chuck it on charge, and then we can go give the bike a wash and have a good look at what's underneath all this grimy exterior. Chain of sprockets good clean up. I've already started dribbling some of this stuff on, which is a tar and glue remover. It's pretty lethal, so if you do buy some, try not to get it on your skin. He says as he slaps it all over. But I just want to see what's under all this grime. Now it's not perfect, but that chain of sprockets looking a lot better than they did. That's a win there, I think. I haven't gone over this, so I've just been cleaning it, sorting it all out. So far, pretty happy with it. It's a pretty tidy bike. Tidy in sense of mechanically. There's no gopping issues anywhere. Forks look okay. Rear shock got some surface rust but looks okay. There's no dings in the wheels, discs, brakes, nothing sticking on or dragging. Radiator looks okay. So on the whole, on the engine as well, Doesn't look to be any cracks, any marks, anything. I can't find anything to pick fault really, other than cosmetics, which, bearing in mind this is a road legal track bike, that's why it doesn't have lights and so on. It's been destined for track, hence it's got some nice upgrades like the power commander to optimize fueling, the WP race rear shock, potentially got reworked forks by Maxton, who are a UK brand who do a lot of work with suspension upgrades. So it may have just been serviced by them. I need to get that checked out. But my first thoughts are, I think it might be worth keeping and spending some money on. I had in my head that either I would part it out and make my money back that way, or if it was nice and tidy, try and get it back up together and running and riding. And I think that's really possible. Like I say, there's, apart from a few dings here and there and scratches, and I'll just put some more scratches in it as well because I dropped the bike just as I was taking it off the paddock stand. It looks alright, but probably going to leave it there for today because I'll show you. Oh, the light's not very good here, is it? So we got that one. Got that one there. Come on, camera, focus. Well, got that one there, and if you'll excuse me a second, I will drop my trousers. But I've got a couple of good old marks on my knee there. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but yeah, so dropped the bike into myself. So time to call it a night there. I'm going to do some research on parts that I need. I wanted to do a roundup of where I'm at with the bike, what the next steps are, and the spend so far. Let's start with the interesting bit, spend. The bike cost me £800, 800. I've spent £25 in fuel because I had to borrow someone's van, so I put £25 worth of fuel in. I bought them a cake, coffee and walnut cake if you're interested, for £5 to say thank you for letting me use their van. And then I spent £1.99 on a HPI check, so checking the history of the bike, whether it was stolen, whether it had been written off in an insurance claim, whether the VIN number checked out okay, and that kind of thing. And it all did. That was why one of the reasons for buying the bike is it was all kosher. Next steps, I tried starting the bike with the battery, after I charged the battery, so I tried starting the bike, and it would crank, but it wouldn't fire. Now, I haven't had a chance to properly investigate that yet, but from what I've read and from what the diagnostics check on the dash says, which is reasonably primitive, but what I've checked out, it reckons a crank sensor, a coil pack, and potentially also a speed sensor, which I think is on the back of the gearbox on them. Those will potentially have a fault, and I need to investigate a little bit further and dig around in there, see what's actually faulty or not. With the crank position sensor, there is some information out there that reckons it could be linked to the power commander, so I'm going to try and unplug that and switch it around and a few little things, but that's what's going to come up in the next video. I haven't got a chance to do it just yet. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the progress and how we get on with the bike. Now, go and have a wonderful Christmas, a great New Year, and we'll see you all on the other side. Ride safe.